Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we're going to take a look at two different things. The first is the second crashed Thargoid scout ship that's recently been found. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the stations that are currently under repair and whether or not it's going to be actually possible to get them fixed. So then, I'm out here in the Pleiades sector. I just left the Maya system, as you just saw, and I've still got my beluga here. My Asp Explorer is stuck all the way back in Shinrata Desra at the Founder's World, so I'm going to summon it over, but I'm not going to get it over in time to film this episode, which means I have to lose the beluga for this episode, and it also meant I have to go and search for an SRV as I don't have one out here. I made the silly mistake of not checking the status of a system before I jumped in, and hoped that I'd be able to get the SRV in the rope system. However, that system was on lockdown, meaning I couldn't use the outfitting screen, so it took me a little while to, or longer than I'd like actually, to get the SRV, but nonetheless, here we are. So this second Thargoid scout ship was located recently by Wing Atlantis. Essentially, Commander Tonio was able to track down this planet by matching the star configuration in the backdrop here to that of a video released on the 24-hour livestream recently. So here we are then at these specific coordinates, and well, in the beluga it's a little bit difficult because you can't see the ground, which incidentally is one of the reasons I don't fly an Anaconda that much and much prefer the Asp Explorer, but nonetheless we do have access to the camera suite here, which allows us to see things directly below us. I've slightly flown over the top of the area here and very nearly missed it. So hats off to the guys who actually tracked this down, because you can see here it's extremely small. Now, we have seen one of these ships before. It's located at a planet relatively close by to this one actually, and that was also crashed with a gas giant looming in the background. Interesting configuration and a lovely sight. Now, what's interesting about this particular ship is we don't know its relationship to the other Thargoid ships we've seen so far. That's the Cyclops, the Basilisk and the Medusa. It's obviously much smaller and is likely far older. In fact, it looks a lot like the alien ship from the still image that Frontier released showing a Thargoid from the original war. You can see the image in the top corner of the screen right here, and this was released in the context of in-game lore, showing one of the earliest images of Thargoid contact hundreds of years ago. Now, interestingly, David Braben also said that these ships are going to make a reappearance later on in the game in perhaps a slightly different variant. And hopefully at that point we'll understand the relationship between these specific ships and the ones that are currently up there in space. Now, as with the previous Thargoid scout ship site, there's not a whole lot you can actually do around here aside from checking things out, but there are some materials located around here, or some objects at least, and you can collect these objects and hand them in to the mission for Professor Palin at Obsidian Orbital. The other thing you're probably going to want to do here is use your scanner, your data scanner, to scan the Thargoid scout ship itself, but again, as with the previous site, the little area that you have to target is embedded down deep within the ground, which means it's a right pain in the backside to actually target. But if you back yourself up on the rocks here, you should be able to angle your SRV such that you can scan the thing without too much problem. And there we go, that's pretty much what you need to do. Either this or fly up in the air using your thrusters. But nonetheless, once you're angled correctly, you can scan the Thargoid scout ship, making it much easier to return here at a later date, and you also get this little message. Material analysis complete, high concentrations of mycoid particles detected. And mycoid, of course, is the weaponized virus that humanity used against the aliens in the previous Thargoid war. So if you've been out this way, you'll have noticed that increasing numbers of stations are actually coming under attack. Now, the Thargoids have been pretty clear that their intent is not to destroy the stations, and it also seems pretty clear that they do have the capabilities to completely destroy the stations if they were so inclined. Their intent then seems to be to disable the stations, and they're doing a very, very good job of that. Currently, new stations come under attack and are damaged every Thursday, which seems to coincide with server downtime. And, well, here's a station that's under repair. Now, here's the thing. These stations are not coming out of the repair status, which to all intents and purposes means these stations have severely reduced services. If you check the news section inside one of these stations, you can see all the commodities they need in order to repair, and you can see the amount of commodities that players have so far delivered. In this case, really not a whole lot. Now, up until recently, this wasn't showing the correct information. The percentage was stuck at 0%, and the reason for that is because it was only going to update every 10%. Frontier have changed that now though, so that it updates in 1% increments. They've also confirmed that the repair of these stations is 100% in the hands of the players, and if the players don't get these repaired, then the stations will remain inoperable. And this is pretty interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, there's an ever-increasing number of stations under repair, and secondly, just look at the amount of commodities that are required just to repair one station. Hudson Observatory, for example, requires nearly 8 million units of commodities, and the Oracle is asking for well over 9 million units. So keep in mind that new stations are coming under attack all the time, and it becomes very clear that it's going to be impossible to repair all these stations. And in order to get just some of them up and working again, it's going to require coordinated player effort. Whether or not this is going to happen remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the Thargoid certainly mean business. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.